And good afternoon, everybody. Today we are going to be discussing how to hit a softball or a baseball using cues. So cues are incredibly helpful when teaching a movement or a technique. They are also vital during a game situation when you need to redirect a player in a short amount of time. I love softball so much, and I still remember all the cues that my coach taught me throughout the years. So let's go through this video and talk about some of the cues that this athlete goes through. So the first one that I want to bring up is squish the bug. Now I'm sure a lot of players in softball and baseball have heard this throughout the years, but it's actually a very helpful cue. This means that when swinging, the back foot doesn't leave the ground, but you are just pivoting it in the dirt. Okay, so if we take a look here, the batter is in ready position. They're seeing the ball come in. They're starting to step forward with their foot, and this back foot is pivoting. Okay, notice that that foot never actually comes off the ground. All right, so we have the pivot right here, and then the reset. So let's look at that again. Ready stance, sees the ball coming in, front foot forward, and pivot. Now if we take a look at the other angles, here, which we just went through, here's one. The next one is to the side. Here we go, front foot gonna move forward, and that back foot is pivoting. Okay, it doesn't leave the ground. So this is to make sure that the player has balance when they're hitting, and also driving the momentum forward, but still having some kind of grounding on that back foot. And then if you take a look at this stance, okay? Looking at that back foot, here we go, ready position, stepping forward, and there we go. Okay, so squishing the bug, that's the first cue. The second one is to line up your door knocker knuckles. So we have two sets of knuckles on our hands, and the ones that they're talking about, when we have our batter here, getting ready. Okay, so we're going to zoom in a little bit. It's a little blurry, but the knuckles on both of her hands are lined up. Okay, this makes sure that when you're swinging, okay, that the swing stays level and that your wrists don't impede on the mobility of the swing. So having your knuckles aligned like that makes sure that the wrists are also in line for a full swing from back to front. There we go. I don't know why this isn't letting me write today. It's always something. Here we go. Okay, so if we zoom in on this, okay, it's not letting me zoom in. There we go. Yikes. Okay, so we'll see that, okay, good, that the knuckles are lined up with both hands right here. Okay, so you can actually see the ridge of both of those. Okay. The next cue is to keep your eye on the ball. Well, that's an easy one. You've probably heard of that since kindergarten, playing Little League. But yes, you need to keep your eye on the ball when that ball is coming at you when you're up to bat. It's important for the batter to watch the ball leave the pitcher's hand and follow the ball towards them. This really helps with hitting accuracy and making sure that your bat is being lined up with that ball. So if you look, okay, you can see that the batter is facing the pitcher and looking this way. All right, and as we move, see her shift. Okay, her eyes are redirected towards the ball that is coming towards that bat, and she keeps her eyes on that ball all the way until she hits it. You can see that the alignment, right? All the way until she hits that ball and follows through. Okay. The next cue is to rotate the hips. So also very important. So we think that, or at least some people think that when we swing a bat, our power is coming from our arms, but our power is actually coming from our hips. Our hips drive the most power and force out of our bodies. So in really any major movement in sport, you want to make sure that your hips are engaged. So making sure that your feet are in a V stance, which is also another cue. Okay? And when that ball comes forward, you'll notice that there is a very strong hip rotation. So instead of here, we're coming this way. Okay, and those hips are facing forward at the end. Okay, so big hip rotation. Forward, pivot, follow through. Okay, and that squishing the bug cue also helps with the pivot of the hips to make sure that there's enough force driving through those hips. The last one is belly to target. So after you're swinging the bat, after the swing is completed, your belly should be facing the target. Now, this is can be a little bit more advanced for some younger players, especially when you're just trying to be able to hit a ball, and not really concerned on where you're going to be sending the ball. Okay, that's a little bit more of an advanced skill, but you want to make sure that your belly is facing the target when you're done. So this has a lot to do with the hips, right? Because we have the hips here, they're opened up, facing the target, but you can also see that the belly, right, is also facing the target. Now, this athlete tends to always hit the ball into left field or to third base. Something to fix that, which I had to kind of learn on my own, was that the foot positioning is also important of that front foot. So if you want to hit the ball to right field, a helpful cue is to point your toe towards your target also. So I would always bring my toe in a little bit more into this area here, okay? And believe it or not, it actually does help a little bit with swinging to right field. And part of the reason for that is that if this foot is in a little bit more, okay, this foot is in a little bit more, then your shoulders are pointing a different direction too. They're actually pointing more towards right field rather than towards the pitcher or left. So moving the front foot actually changes the direction of the rest of your body, and you can hit more towards right or center, which is something that right-handed hitters have a difficult time doing. So those are our cues for today. I hope that you enjoyed our lovely video and our lovely athlete. She's looking quite wonderful today, I must say. And if you have any questions, let me know. Let's go hit some baseballs.